Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun Benzion. We're learning Kesubos stuff, Mem Hey number 45. There's two halachas that are pretty prominent by Nara Murasa. One din by Nara Murasa. Nara Murasa is a parsha in the Torah of a girl who's not only she had a Nara, she's a 12-year-old girl, so a very young girl. If she's a Bulgaris, if she's even 12 years old and 6 months, the dinim don't apply to her anymore. 12-year-old girl, um, she commits adultery before the marriage. It's proven she committed adultery. She gets skila, right? And not only does she get skila, you have to do it in a public place. The more public, the better, right? If Sheila explained on the bottom of Dalamad Bay is that if she's already married, you go to her father's house because that's more prominent. It makes a bigger statement because you say, "Ro gidulim shegidaltim." Look what you raised. Look at the daughter you raised. She already has a nara, a 12-year-old girl. She's cheating on her husband before the marriage. So they do it Pesach Beis Avia. If she's still in her father's house, then you go to the city gate. If it's a Jewish city, the Gemara says the Memham base. If it's a Jewish city, you're in Lakewood or something like that. You go to Rove Jews over there. You go, or in Israel, almost all the cities here are mostly Jewish, unless it's an Arab city. So you go out to Pesach Beis Ha'ir. You go out to the city gates. You know, you go to Jerusalem. You go to the Knisa Ha'ir over there, where everyone can see. They have those big rallies sometimes for politics. You would do that also for if the din of Nara Masr applied. If Itamar ben Gvir had his way and became a theocracy over here like Iran, so a Jewish theocracy, maybe they would do that. They would have Nara Murasa. If you made a new Sanhedrin, you can give out Dine Misos based in. You give her skila and Pesach Shara year, right? Knisala year in Jerusalem. You'd be giving her skila if she did it in Jerusalem. So what's going on over here, and why is it so much worse than chenek is the least severe of the dalamisus based in chenek? If she's married, she commits adultery, you get chenek. Even if she's nichsa l'chuppah v'nivelash, that is under the wedding canopy, already her din goes down to chenek if she commits adultery after that, even if they didn't actually consummate their marriage. So what's going on? That's one din over here. She gets a worse punishment of skill. And secondly, we're trying to do it seemingly in the most prominent way, the most public way. Pesach Beis Avia, right? If she's already married, or in the Shara Eir, if it's a Jewish city. If they're not Jewish city, so it's not going to make the front headlines because no one cares about it. It's not a Jewish city, but therefore you do it in front of Beis Din, which is like the Jewish embassy in the city, the Jewish main site in the city. So you do it in front of the Pesach Beis Din. So that either way, it seems that the idea is to do it publicly. The difference in chenek and skila is that chenek, really, there's no participation of other people, participation in the community. When it comes to skila, technically skila is carried out Masech Sanhedrin by Beis Din. They push her off, a 2-story building or whatever. She doesn't die like that. You throw a big rock on her. Or whoever's chayav skila. Some certain averos in the Torah chayav skila. And if that rock doesn't kill her, the huge boulder, then everyone participates, the whole community participates in throwing rocks at her until she dies. Literally, they throw rocks at her. Here people throw rocks at the people at Chal Shabbos. that's where it's based on. It's based on skila. And you give the people from Chal Shabbos, they're driving on Shabbos, so people throw rocks at them. I guess they're like Itamar ben Gvir, it's a theocracy. There's no psak based in. But, so, what's the difference? So the idea is, I believe, that the reason skila is a more brutal death, than chenek. I guess it hurts more, it's physically more painful. But the reason why it's more worse, and it applies by Nara Murasa, is that Nara Murasa, think about it, is a girl is 12 years old. Now, girls that get married nowadays, 18, 19, even when they're 18 or 19, who's really responsible for their marriage? They're too young to get married themselves. Hasidic people, some of them get married at 17, I don't know, but there are arranged marriages. A 12-year-old is surely an arranged marriage. She can't decide on herself who to get married to. It's an arranged marriage, and it's not just her father and her family that's involved in checking out the other side and making sure it's a good arrangement. It's sort of the community is marrying her off also, because that's the community that we're living in. We're living in a community that's arranging marriages at 12-year-old girls. Like, imagine a Hasidic community that's arranging marriages for the girls at 17 or 16 or 18. They're arranging marriages for their girls. It's a community thing. It's a community activity. It's a community minhag. It's a community custom to do that. The whole community is behind it. Now, when she goes as an Amarasa and she commits adultery, a 12-year-old girl committing adultery, that's a pretty severe thing. Why? Because she's not just ruining. She was married. She's a 20-year-old girl and she commits adultery as a wife. So, or even during the engagement, I mean, she's ruining her reputation. She's not ruining the community's reputation. But when you do it in that situation, a 12-year-old girl, where it's not only that it's arranged by you, it's arranged by your community. So therefore, you're humiliating and you're defiling your entire community, right? By cheating on your husband and committing adultery at that point, you are ruining your whole. And that's why it has to be done in the most public place, where everyone can participate. Everyone can take sort of revenge on you for humiliating the community and ruining the minhag, the custom in your community by doing this. So not only do it in the most public place, right, where everyone should be part of it and see your humiliation, because that's it should be, you have to squash whatever. She's ruining the reputation of her community, so she's humiliated in order to squash whatever detriment she did on the reputation of the community by doing it in public and killing her in public. It squashes that, that effect that she had on, ruining and sullying the reputation of our community. And also the skila, it potentially could be done. They all kill her. The whole community is throwing rocks at her if she doesn't die in the first two ways. So therefore, that's the reason that Nara Marasa is more severe, that she gets skila. And also that's why it's done in a more public place. By doing it in a more public place, the most public place possible, that everyone should see it. It should ruin, it should diminish the embarrassment of the community, and maybe even the whole community participates in punishing her because she ruined the name of the whole community, not just ruined her own reputation. That was the conclusion of today's share. I hope you enjoyed. See you in Mishnah Yomi coming up next.